As darkness hangs over Brighton, it's not thunder that roars in the silence. It's something haunting a woman. With more stillness, my mind returns to the musts. I must write that resignation letter. I've already followed an urge to let go of things once hugely important to my life, and yet my stomach tightens around a loss of purpose, loss of status, relationships, people who I've done community projects with, friends. Who will I be now? What am I worth? It was a muted question I'd asked myself on leaving the hidden world of a Scottish orphanage after 10 years. The institution snuffed the very life and spirit out of thousands of girls meant to have received care. At age 14, I returned to a world unknown, with no history and no map of an I or me, feeling as brittle as cracked glass. Yet I am lucky to be alive, to have a father and to have a home. Kathy, just 5 years older than I, my unofficial guardian in the institution, a delegitimized child, had nothing and no one waiting for her. Kathy would later give up on life. And I ponder now on how good people lose sight of their ideals. Survival of flawed systems become paramount over thriving children. So I'm clocking in at the clothing factories at age 15. I, an only black woman, in nylon overall and headscarf, I joined in the laugh and crack, disguising my padded armour, covering up an unsteady gait, as if fending off an unspoken shame. That darkie, and much worse, you overheard. We should stick to our own kind, they said. Then it had no name, the ghost that relentlessly defamed. The 15-year-old I stuffed it away in a shed somewhere in her head. But that time she heard her best friend refer to her in those terms. She wanted to shed her skin, scrape it off until it bled. Years passed trying to counteract the critics, those crazy crickets with their high-pitched whine. You're not, you too, die did I die. In that internalized carousel, I went on sewing Levi's in the factory, stitch, stitch, stitching, for 15 more years, till as faded as those old blue jeans I'd been. So jaded I'd become by the daily drudge and humdrum of the sewing machine, I barely noticed something growing in me. Something that bulged at the seams, for I had weaved into the fabric my secretly whispered hopes and my dreams. Until one day, opportunity called. Hey you! Who, me? I said with a raised brow and a wide eye. I dived into an unknown abyss. Anything had to be better than this. For a third time, I entered a foreign world, still brittle glass among the blue-eyed middle class at Sussex University, and the scary world of the English professional class. In these places where there is no room for feelings, no space for experiences to be met, no room in the house for the unspoken white lines between us, a muted voice said, "Something in you is wrong. Fit to my norm, do not storm." What I, this woman of African and Asian heritage from a mining town in Scotland, the one who is depressed by something unaddressed, some part unexpressed, dispossessed. Something in me had to change.